Hello, my name is Zach, and I'm here to have a short video to talk about how to write an email. Now, not just how to write an email, I think many of you already know how to write an email, but how to make an email effective, how to make a good email. So first, let's talk about basic structure. So email writing is fairly simple. It's supposed to be short and fast and simple. But let's just talk about the structure. So usually when we look at an email, you see something like this. It'll say to CC, BCC, subject, and then this is where you will write your email. Same with your phone. So what's important is to talk about these parts. First things first, to. What is to for? To is who do you want to talk to? To is for the people that you want to do something. So you're writing an email because you need information, you're writing an email because you want to tell somebody something, or you're asking somebody to do something. If they need to respond, they need to give you an answer, we need to use to. No matter how many people there are, okay? Could be 30 people, could be one person. But this is the important part. If you expect someone to do something, that's the key. If you expect someone to do something, they should go in the to field. And this is where you put the email address. So anybody that you need to talk to goes in the to. Now CC is different. CC is for carbon copy or courtesy copy. What we use this for is someone that needs to read the email, but they don't need to respond. Someone who needs to just be aware of the information, but it's not important that they give you an answer, and it's not important that they send an email back. So this could be like to would be sending an email to your customer, but CC would be copying your boss so they are aware of the conversation. So any email address here, they just get the copy of the email, they don't need to write you back. Now, CC, we can put anybody here. From that's you to the person that this is about, this is who we're writing to, and then CC are just the people that need to be aware of the email. Okay? Now, expected to read, but not expected to answer. So, that's the important part. Expected to read, to is expected to respond. Now, BCC is not commonly used, so we don't need to spend too much time, but what it is blind carbon copy. What we mean is the person that is getting a copy, like carbon copy, like CC, they are blind, meaning their email address is hidden. So if we looked at the CC example, we can see their email addresses. If it was in BCC, the email addresses would be hidden, so no one can see it. So we had to decide, when is it appropriate? BCC would be, maybe I'm emailing a customer, my boss wants a copy of the email, but I don't want my customer to see my boss's email. So BCC would be appropriate there. So keep it in mind, it's fairly simple. To, people required to take action, the people you're writing to. CC is people that need to know the information, but do not have to write you back. BCC, they get the information, but nobody else can see their email address. Okay? Now this is the basic beginning structure of the email. Now what's next? We have something we like to call the subject line. So what do I mean by subject line? Let me show you. So what we do, so here's the subject line. Now what do we mean by subject line? It's this part. It's the beginning of the email. So the beginning of the email, we have, it's just a preview of what the email is about, okay? Subject lines tell the reader before they open the email what is the topic of your email. And it's really important we write a clear subject line, meaning the person understands the topic of the email from the subject line. So we want to be specific, we want to be clear. So we don't want to write workshop because we don't know anything about it. If I get an email that just says workshop, I probably won't open it. I need to be specific so I know how it pertains to me, how I should be interested in this email. So workshop on effective email writing. Now we're being more specific. Remember, anytime we're writing in English, the more specific you are, the better your writing is. It's very hard when our writing is not specific. We don't use specific action, or we don't use specific nouns. So the more specific, the more detail you give me, the better. Same thing here, example number 2, photocopy machine. It's not enough information. So authorization for photocopy machine purchase. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to give people an idea about the email before they open the email. It just helps. One, it does 2 things. It gets the reader's attention. It makes the person want to open your email. It makes the person want to read your email. And another thing is it helps the reader understand what's important and what's not important. Because oftentimes in business, people get many, many emails a day, and we have to prioritize our time. So we have to decide what emails I open and what emails I do not open. This is what helps people open emails. Good subject lines. So this is what we have as a basic structure of an email. Before we even write the email, to CC, BCC, and subject line. Now let's look at what do we actually write in the email. So let's look at an example of an email. Now, all writing in English uses 3-part structure. It's always an introduction, the body, the conclusion. So 3 paragraphs for email writing. But business writing is a little different. Business writing is supposed to be simple and short and straight to the point. What we mean is concise. So, in business writing, and especially email writing, paragraphs do not have to be formal, and they can be very short. In fact, I can have 1 to 2 sentences in a paragraph and still call it a paragraph. What's important is there's still a 3-part structure, no matter how long the paragraph. So, I want to use the first part as my introduction. I want to tell you why I'm writing this email. What's the purpose of this email? Second part, the detail. It's the support. It's the body. It's the detail about why you're writing to me. The what, the when, the where, the who, everything I need to understand why you're writing. And then the last part is the conclusion. I end the email, and normally we're emailing for a reason, so I thank the reader and then I ask for action. Can be specific action, can be non-specific action. But we'll look at each part, okay? So 3-part structure, 3 paragraphs no matter how short. They focus on individual things. Another thing to notice is how we structure our email. Paragraphs are separated by spaces in business writing. So it's not traditional. We keep it all aligned to the left, and we use double space to separate our paragraphs. Now let's look at the first part. The first part is why I'm writing to you. What is the purpose of this email? But even more important, now remember, we want our emails to be effective. We want people to read our emails. We want people to do what we want. So there's an important thing we have to think about, and that's what we said, tone. So if we did the speaking video, we talked about tone. Same thing in this writing. Tone is our feeling, the emotion we put in our words for writing. So all of my business writing, all of my emails need to have a really positive tone, a really good feeling to them. So normally in the first paragraph, I want to do 2 things. So before I even tell you the purpose of the email, I should give some tone. So normally I would want to say a sentence like, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a productive day. If you know the person, you can make it personal, like how's your family or how's your wife. You just want to make some sort of positive feeling before they even read the email. You want to really set the tone, we say. Start the tone as positive for the email and keep it positive. So we should do that in the first part. So I hope you're having a good day. I'm excited to tell you about this meeting. And then you tell me the purpose of your email. So first part, purpose. I am in your English class on Thursdays, and I have a question about the paper. So they don't understand something about the paper. So that's part one. Part one, why are you writing? You're writing to your teacher because you do not understand a question. So then part two, paragraph 2, it is the detail. All the detail I need to understand your email. Here's the thing about good writing. The reader should have no questions. The reader should not really have any confusion about what you're writing about. So be specific. Specific nouns, specific action. Give me good detail. And that's good writing. Now remember, it doesn't need to be long. Long is bad. Specific is good. So part 2, detail. So they give me the actual question and the confusion that they do not understand. Now, part 1, why are you writing? Part 2, the details. So part 3, it's the conclusion, it's the finish. So normally in email writing, we use the conclusion to ask for action. We ask the reader to do something. Now, here, can I come by your office to talk? They want to talk to the teacher, they're asking if it's possible. And then thank you, and then end it. Now, normally in an email, this is an email between a student and a teacher, so it doesn't need to be so positive in tone. It can be less formal, more casual. If this was a customer or if this was a business partner, I would be more formal. I would be more positive. So I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for your time. We use these sentences to build good feeling. Now we're going to talk more about the tone at the end of this video, but let's continue on and look at some other options we have when we're talking about email writing. So remember, 3 parts, keep it simple. So what is important are 2 things. So let's start with the first thing. Keep it short, keep it concise. This is what we mean. It's better in business writing to keep it short, keep it simple. Time is money, and that's true. The less time I can use in reading your email, the less time I need to use in understanding your email, the better. So remember, short is good, but specific is key here. I have some students that try to keep it very short, but they make it so short, I lose all meaning. So keep your nouns specific, keep your verbs specific, but overall your sentences can be short and simple. The easier to understand, the better. So, for example, one of the best things you can do for yourself to improve your writing is to learn how to cut words that are unnecessary. Long way to say that. Here's the short way. To improve your writing, cut out unnecessary words. There's always more than one way to say something, especially in English. There's a lot of ways to say something. So, pick the easiest way to understand, pick the shortest way to do it. It saves you time, it saves me time, everybody's happy. Okay? So same thing, make your employees sufficiently aware of the potentially adverse consequences. You see how these big words, they are tempting to use. A lot of people, they want to use big words because it sounds formal, it sounds very smart, sounds very professional, but the problem is not everybody is using the language in the same way. Especially when we're doing business internationally, most people using English are using it as a second language. Like you, like your coworkers, like your business partners. So, try to avoid big words. Try to avoid very complicated words. Make the understanding simple. Warn your employees about these chemicals. A very long sentence, a very short sentence, they contain the same meaning. Make it easy for yourself. Your writing is shorter, your writing is simpler. Make it easy for the reader. They can understand you with less time, less confusion. Now let's look at the second thing that is very important when we're writing an email, and that's the language. Remember, we're talking about tone. Tone is the feeling we have in our words. Especially in business writing, we're talking to customers, we're talking to business partners. Sometimes we have to give bad information. Sometimes we have to say we made a mistake. Sometimes we have to say we can no longer do business with you. Sometimes we need people to read our email and do something for us even though the thing we want is not good. It's not necessarily happy. Like, you owe me money, you need to pay your bill, so please pay. So we have to try to give these bad messages in a positive way. And that's super key in business writing. So we can say bad things in good ways, and that's the idea. So like here, first example, I need to tell my employee they did not get the promotion. They will not go to the next level. So I can say it in a negative way or in a positive way. What's important to know is when I'm using positive language, I do two things. I don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive only, and also don't focus on the past, focus on the future only. So here we're saying, we don't want to say, we are unable to give you the promotion. We focus on the future, not the past. Past is past. You're not getting the promotion. It's too late. So I'm going to focus on the positive. I'll say, we will be able to promote you. You will get the promotion when you get more experience. So don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. So I don't want to say you did not get promotion because you do not have skills. I say you will get promoted. In the future, you will get promoted when you get these skills. So there's always a positive way to say our message, even if our message is negative. So we will not start repairing your equipment until we get a deposit, until you pay. So instead of saying focusing on the bad, we focus on the good. We will begin once we receive your deposit. So it's all about focusing on the positive words. It's all about focusing on the future. Okay? And that's what's very important, especially when writing an email. How do we get this tone? How do we get this feeling? Because a lot of times when we write to customers, we have to say something bad. We cannot refund your money. We cannot change your flight. We cannot change your hotel. There's something we can't do because of policy or business, and we have to convey that in a nice way. So always focus on the positive language, not the negative. Always focus on the future, not the past. Okay? And that's what's key here. You cannot reconnect without logging in. Cannot, negative word. You can, positive. So not negative, positive. You cannot reconnect, or you can reconnect. So log in again. Log in again. The message is the same, we're just focusing on different parts. Log in again to reconnect, or you cannot reconnect without logging in. Without, cannot, will not, cannot. Let's not use negative words, let's use positive words to say the same thing. Now, tone can be very hard, but it's very important, especially in business writing. It helps the reader understand you, it helps the reader want to help you, and it helps the reader do what you ask them to do. So let's do an example. So we talked about the structure of an email, 3 parts, introduction, body, conclusion. So let's look at a real example. So here we have a rude email. Now, some people would read this and not think it's very rude, but in English, this is very rude. So when we're doing positive tone, we're doing positive language, we usually need to do 2 things. We always want to use positive words, like we said. But the second part is a little harder. We want to be indirect. In English, it's very rude to be direct. What do I mean by direct is meaning you go straight to the question or you go straight to the sentence without preparing the reader. So let me give you an example. If I want to ask somebody what time it is, instead of saying, what time is it? It's very direct. I ask permission to ask a question. It's all about permission. It's all about asking the reader. So, do you mind telling me what time it is? Could you tell me what time it is? Would you know what time it is? This is what we mean by indirect language. So, let's say I cannot give you promotion. Instead of saying, you will not be promoted, or I will not promote you, or I cannot promote you, I can just say, unfortunately, we want to set some sort of tone, some feeling. Unfortunately, you did not qualify for promotion this time, but with more experience, you will get promoted next time. Okay? So that's what we're going to try to do here. So let's do this together. So we're trying to make this email less direct, and we're trying to use more positive language to say bad things. So here I have a customer complaint. My customer is complaining about our service. Our service was not good, but there's no real problem. There's no problem with my customer service employees. There's no problem with our policy. The customer is just upset. The customer is angry, and so they want to complain. So how do I handle a customer that is complaining when it's just emotion? There's only bad feeling. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can give them to change their opinion. So I have to kind of handle this message in a positive way. So this email is very direct, and it can be very rude. You're telling the customer they are wrong. But you never want to tell the customer they're wrong. You want to tell them they're not right. So, we received your complaint regarding customer service. That's part 1. You see, paragraph 1, one sentence. It's okay if it's short. But first part, you're telling me why you're writing this email. We received your complaint. Now, here's what we did wrong already. We did not set tone. We did not start with positive tone. So, we just go straight to the email. We want to give the customer some positive feeling first. Remember, the customer's upset. So, I'm sorry for any inconvenience this has caused you, or I hope you're having a good day, or let's start here. We can say what we're going to say first. We received your complaint regarding customer service. Now let's set some positive tone. I am really sorry that you had a negative experience, and I am attempting to correct the situation. I'm sorry you had a bad experience. I'm writing to try to fix the situation. We want to make it clear to the customer that we really care about them, that we have this positive feeling. Because remember, there's nothing to do. There's nothing I can do. There's no real problem to solve. The customer is just upset. The customer is angry. So I just want to try to take away that anger. I want to replace the bad feeling with the good feeling. And the best way to do that is to, we call it empathize. I want to understand their feeling. So I know that they're upset, but do I know why they're upset? They're upset because, well, they didn't get what they want, or something is not right. So I need to understand that. How would I feel if I'm in the same situation? So, I'm sorry you had a I'm sorry you had a bad experience with our customer service. If I had the same experience, I would be upset as well. Something like this. We want to try to understand their feeling, tell the customer you understand their feeling, but replace it with a positive feeling. We're trying to use feeling to affect our message. Tone to affect our reader. So part 2, once again, we give the details. So in this case, we're being too direct. We're saying, I investigated, I checked, there was no problem. But it's not about the actual problem. The problem is the customer's feeling. The customer had a bad time, that's the problem. So instead of focusing on the negative, I want to focus on the positive. So I don't have an answer. I can't say this customer service employee did something wrong, they're fired. I can't give them anything like that. But what I can do is, remember, give them positive emotion. So instead of focusing on customers wrong, I'm right, I should focus more like this. I am attempting to fix your problem so that this will never happen again. Remember, not the past, focus on the future. The past is the past. The customer is already upset. Let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about how we're going to fix the problem so this doesn't happen in the future. We're giving the customer this positive feeling that their complaint is helping other customers in the future or helping themselves in the future. So I don't want to say this. I don't even want to mention this. I can just say, I am personally investigating the matter, and even though I haven't found a reason for your bad experience, I am attempting to correct the mistake so that it will never happen again. Always keeping it positive, always understanding the reader's emotions and trying to make them feel better about it. So there's no problem, you're not wrong, the reader's not wrong, we're just saying, I know there's a problem, I understand your feeling, I will make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, here's the actual solution. We don't have a thing we can do, but I can give you my manager. But here's the thing, I don't want to give work to the customer. So here we are asking them to do something. This email's technically correct. We're asking for action in the third part. But in this case, it's negative to ask the customer to do something because the customer is upset. They're asking you to fix the problem. So what are you going to do to fix it? So you should be the one to tell the manager. You shouldn't say to the customer, hey, call my manager. You should tell the customer, I have contacted my manager. I told my manager about you already. My manager is ready to help you and they know about it already. So instead of asking the customer to call my manager, I should tell the customer, I called my manager for you. Here we can still ask for action though. Please wait until my manager calls you next week. Or even a general response. Remember, action can be specific, like please wait for my manager's phone call, or action can be not specific. If you have any questions, please email me again. So, tell them that you are getting the manager involved. And don't forget, always you want to thank the reader. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your understanding. So thank you for your understanding. I have contacted my manager already, and she will contact you about a solution. Once again, I'm sorry that you have been inconvenienced. Please contact me anytime. And then the name. So, we cannot help you anymore. That is not the correct response. Customer's upset, your problem, so you need to fix it. So you're going to help that customer until they feel better. So tone can be a little hard to do, and it takes a lot of practice because some people and some cultures it's okay to be very direct. But usually in business, and especially in English, it's not good to be direct. So positive language, positive words, focus on the positive, focus on the future, and use indirect language. Always ask for permission. Always ask the reader first. Now this is just a basics on how to write a good email. I know we went kind of fast, but this is just an idea, some tips to help you do something you already do. Most of us write emails every day, so this is just a way to help us make our emails a little better. Okay, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a good day.